Hello and welcome to Keep Right On, a Birmingham City podcast brought to you from us here at Birmingham Live. I'm Brian Dick and I'm joined as ever by my colleague and co-host Alex Dicken, but also you will notice by former Birmingham City captain Ian Clarkson, who played for the 9 years for the club he supports, made 172 appearances and was part of the legendary team which won the Leyland Daf Trophy at Wembley in 1991. You can probably see where we're going with this. Since hanging up his boots, he's been a coach educator, a journalist, and is now chief high wizard of football at Hogwarts School in Derbyshire. He can also often be found creeping his way around the lounges, the hospitality lounges at St Andrews. A colleague, a friend, and also one of the nicest men in football. Is all that about right, Ian? Is that all?
I'll tell you what, Brian, you
guilty charged.
You should be my agent. My ego is enormous after that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ian. As I mentioned, Ian was working the lounges last night, so he was at the game. Obviously, I was going to call it the Leyland Daf semi-final victory. There, yes, now the Vertu Trophy semi-final victory over Bradford City. Obviously, you'll all know a 2-1 win, a Jay Stansfield goal, an equaliser, a Jay Stansfield injury, and a Lyndon Dykes win, and that about sums it up. Ian, what did you make of last night as a performance, as an occasion? Because Birmingham City's home matches are now turning into occasions.
Oh, as an occasion, it was unbelievable. I mean, I noticed in the programme beforehand that prior to the 1991 semi-final against Brentford, there was a dog agility show followed by a procession of Evans Halshaw cars around the side of the pitch. So I think we've moved on slightly in the last 34 years to last night, which, as you said, it was a fantastic build-up. The atmosphere, the UB40 song, everything that's going, and the Keep Right On, everything is absolutely perfect. So the build-up is amazing. Then you look at the stadium, full house again, 27,000, and for me, the actual build-up to it is unbelievable. It looks like a proper football club again.
Yeah, absolutely does, doesn't it? And as a lifelong sufferer of Birmingham City, you must just be overwhelmed with what you're seeing at the moment and the love that's been paid to your football team.
Oh, it is, as I said. I mean, I can remember in the not too distant past where we were celebrating when Samish Kumar decided to sort of paint the barriers blue at one sort of pre-season. That was seen as progress. Obviously, the ground being sort of derelict and half empty for a couple of seasons, but it is amazing. I think what we've got now is hope. And that is all you can ask for as a fan. There is real hope that we can go places. How far we can go, who knows? But the fact that we won last night, we were getting 26,000 most weeks, is amazing. We are in Division 3, and we're getting crowds of 27,000.
Yeah, Alex, what did you make of last night? The performance.
The performance was, I mean, not perfect. It hasn't, doesn't have to be perfect, does it? In that kind of situation, but. Chris Davies used kind of his bench quite effectively. The players that came on had a real impact. Ethan Laird especially, I thought, was really good off the bench. And then Lyndon Dykes, we've been kind of crying out for him to hurl himself at a ball in the box all season, haven't we? And he did, and scored a really good header. And probably on the balance of play, given the chances Blues had first half, Stansford obviously missed one as well as scoring one, missed a good chance at the start of the second half as well. Blues did deserve to win. Bradford had Blues rattled a little bit, I think, after the Stansford injury, but who cares? We get a trip to Wembley, so all good.
It's very much about winning semi-finals, isn't it? You don't get style points in semi-finals. Ian, what have you made of Jay Stansfield this season? Obviously, he came in with a huge price tag, a huge amount of pressure. I think in the last couple of games, we've seen why. That, with the quality of the last two goals he scored, we've potentially seen why Blues made that big investment. What have you made of how he's handled it all?
I mean, I think it's been really tricky for him because, he didn't sign till the end of August, really. So, he missed those first 5 or 6 games for us. So to get 20 goals in the amount of time he's done it is an amazing achievement. Look, 50. I mean, I'm not sure how much you've actually paid for him. Every time I look online, it's a different price. So, I mean, I'm assuming it's in the region of between 10, 15 million pounds, which is a lot of money. And, and that's nothing to do with him. I mean, Eo didn't set the price. But I mean, what you'd say is games like the Charlton game where it was tight, there weren't many chances. He scored an absolute fantastic goal away at Barnsley. Last night, I mean, Blues, I mean, Blues have been brilliant this season, but we don't always create an absolute huge amount of chances, particularly in home fixtures. So people like Stansfield are absolutely vital because he'll score goals out of nothing. I mean, in the first half yesterday, it was controlled possession, but there weren't many opportunities. And all of a sudden, out of nothing, takes it on his thigh, swivels, and puts a fantastic volley in the bottom corner. And all of a sudden, that just relieves the pressure. It was the same against Charlton on Saturday again. So for me, I think he's improving. His general play is improving. I think he can still improve his link up and hold up play, but his ability to score goals is second to none, really.
Yeah, and Chris Davis loves his work without the ball on the press as well, doesn't he? And he's so athletic and agile that he's a real menace when the opposition are trying to play out.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw last night that when he's not playing, we miss him. Yeah, I mean that's probably the biggest thing I can say. I mean, there's lots of debates. I mean, I think Alfie May's also been a terrific signing, but Stansfield, as you said, he's 22. He's athletic. He sets the press well. Yes, there are things he can probably do better, but he's scored 20 goals.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, it's not all upside on Stansfield after last night. Alex, what did Chris Davis say about the Stansfield injury? And could just give us your view of that whole mad 60 seconds. Obviously, the Blues thought they were going 2-0 up, we're going to have a penalty, and then it ends up at 1-1, and with serious concern about Jay Stansfield's fitness.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen some shoddy officiating in League One, is it, or at League One level, third tier. So, the incident itself, it looked like a foul, didn't it? It looked like a foul on first reflection. Having watched the replay, it clearly was a foul. The defender, Critchlow, has gone through the back of Stansfield. There's clearly leg-on-leg contact. Should have been a penalty. Bradford obviously went straight to the other end and scored. Blues Fury quickly turned to concern because Stansfield's still down. Speaking to Chris Davies afterwards, he said that they're not concerned about the knee, it's above the knee. So it's kind of the impact on landing that Critchlow's caused by going kind of, bone-on-bone contact. So he went to hospital for a scan, and they will obviously know by now. We'll probably know on Friday, I presume, how severe the injury actually is. But yeah, it didn't look a good one for Stansfield, who, isn't really the sort to kind of, feign injury, to go down and stay down for that long, barely moving, and then be stretched off is a concern. So fingers crossed it was just kind of bone-on-bone contact and there's actually been no damage done, because it would be, so sad for him after getting to 20 goals to miss a significant chunk and potentially that Wembley final.
Ian, if Jay's not available for, let's hope it's a matter of weeks rather than months. Let's hope it's days rather than weeks or months. But if he's not available, what's the best solution? Is it a like for like replacement with Alfie May and go from there, or do Blues with Dykes and Djukovic and have different ways to go about this?
I think he'll go horses for courses when he'll pick it on who we're playing against and who he thinks is the best option. I mean, he's done that this season on numerous occasions, and Lyndon Dykes has clearly been getting better as the season's been going on, but more effective. Although he probably seems more effective in that side, we withdrawn role, doesn't he, in the number 10, just off the main striker. So I would imagine he'd start with Alfie May, who's let nobody down. And again, he scored, I think, 12 goals himself this season, 10 or 12 goals. So a good replacement to have. I think Dykes will definitely be in the equation.
Yeah. Alex, do you view it that way?
Yeah, I think May's the more natural replacement, isn't he? Because he can set the press and he's got that kind of about him. Whereas Dykes is maybe not as mobile. He's not immobile, but obviously more of a target man. I was quite disappointed with May as a sub against Bradford. There were probably 3 or 4 occasions where his touch really let him down. One with the pass to Williamson not long after coming on, and one where he would have been through right at the end, would need to make it 3-1, but his touch was poor and eventually had to run it over to the corner to waste time and see the game out. But I think it will be May. When he has played as the 9 this season without Stansfield, he's been quite good. When you think back to Lincoln away, Wigan away, Blues won those games 3-1 and 3-0, and May played a big part. So I think he's the natural replacement. Yeah,
and presumably, go on, Ian. Yeah,
I think it is really, really difficult though as a striker, because he hasn't been getting that many minutes recently. And I think to sort of come on and sort of hit the ground running is really hard. I think strikers more than anywhere else, it's a sort of a confidence position. So if you've not been playing, you've not been scoring, it's a big ask, I think, to come on straight away and make a big difference. So I think Alfie May, if he starts and gets minutes, will be effective again.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that exactly that. It's he is probably showing a few signs of rustiness just because he's been sort of so sporadically used. Most of this podcast for this season has been talking about grinding the way to the League One title and promotion, which Blues are doing. And even last night there was a shot in the arm on that front, wasn't there, with Wrexham losing?
Yeah.
Wickham won, but it's the third place team that all eyes are on, really. Now 11 points clear with 2 games in hand. So a good night on that front as well. But last night was about getting to Wembley. Ian, as I mentioned in the intro, you played as a Blues fan for Blues at Wembley.
Yeah.
What can Blues fans and players now expect in the build up and lead up to the weeks coming up to Wembley and that whole Wembley experience?
I mean, what they can expect is absolute carnage in a good sense. They'll be, inundated with people asking for tickets. They'll be inundated with interest. They'll be, I'm guessing they'll probably still do Wembley suits in this era. I don't know. We actually recorded a song with the Rocking Berries, believe it or not, on cassette, which I think struggled to break into the top 500. I'm not sure, but of Keep Right On with Louis Louis on the B side because of Lou Macari. So lots of things like that really, which there's lots of fun attached to it, in terms of things that you wouldn't normally do. Chris Davis looks like a terrific manager who's very professional, as it was Macari. So, he'll do as much as he can to business as usual up to the actual game itself. But, it's a day to be enjoyed. There's going to be probably 40,000 Blues fans there, I would imagine, at least. And what a day. And it's a really, really good platform to go and play football on, isn't it, Wembley? The nation will be watching, particularly if we're playing Wrexham. Then half of the USA will be watching if we're playing Wrexham. So for me, if I was a player, I'd just be looking forward to it.
Yeah, there is that task of putting that away for 6 weeks now, though, isn't there? And
yeah.
As you say, the interview requests will be coming thick and fast. Ian, how did that song go again? Could you just run it past us?
Which one? It was Keep Right On.
Doing both if you want.
I think I feel more comfortable singing Louis Louis. You must know that one, right? It was covered by Motorhead on Top of the Pops in about 1980.
I'm just trying to get you to sing on the podcast, Ian.
As you go through life, I think it was one of the lines, mate. Yeah.
Very good. You weren't lead vocals, were you?
I was more backing vocals one in those days. I was more of a nutty dancer like Bez or Chad Smasher and Madness. That was my role, really.
Alex, what are you looking forward to about Wembley?
Oh, just the occasion, really. Blues haven't been to Wembley 14 years. To kind of have that experience of the whole day. I don't like to talk about the experience too much because I think some clubs do that, and you kind of get there, and it's about the experience rather than actually winning. Blues do, need to go and kind of finish the job and actually emulate the guys of 94-95 by winning the league and cup double because, with the squad they've got, they should be doing that. And Lyndon Dykes admitted that actually in his post-match interview as well. So the day will be great, but it's going to be even better if Blues do actually win and, fans get to enjoy it. We get to enjoy it and write about and talk about, a Blues win at Wembley. Because it's been a while and the club's obviously had a very difficult time over the last 10, 12 years in particular. So to have this day will be really, really special.
Be very cathartic, won't it? Alex, you asked Chris Davis last night if you had a preference of opponent, either Wrexham or Peterborough. Both of them are great storylines, aren't they? Do you have a preference in storyline or opponent?
I do, yeah. I'd like it to be Peterborough because, Barry Fry is obviously still director of football at Peterborough and potentially getting back on the podcast maybe for a little bit longer this time. He's not in such a rush. But the idea for me of Blues who are effectively reigning champions in this competition because they won it the last time they played in it, and Peterborough, who are the reigning champions, going head-to-head at Wembley would be quite interesting, probably more interesting than the third edition of the Hollywood Derby. But, I'm guessing the broadcast probably won't agree with me on that one.
The broadcasters will want all the A-listers in Wembley, won't they? It's not an exaggeration to say the EFL Trophy will never have had as high a profile if it's Wrexham, will it, Clarkie?
Oh, no, absolutely. It'll be a massive game, and quite rightly they should be, because there'll be a crowd of 70, 80,000, I'd have thought. Irrespective if we're playing Wrexham or Peterborough, because Peterborough will bring a few as well. So, I mean, it'll be a big crowd. Interest is high in Blues this year as well, just because of the players we've signed and the form we're showing. So, yeah, great. More publicity, the better from my perspective, really.
Yeah, indeed. Do you have a preferred opponent?
Yeah, I'd like it to be Wrexham. I'd like us to absolutely smash them. Yeah.
Go on. Yeah, I mean, Clarky, as a former journalist yourself, that is a red flag to me. Why would you like to smash Wrexham?
Yeah, I can just say I did my A licence with Phil Parkinson, who is actually a really nice fellow. When I had my A licence with him, he was. So nothing personal to Phil. He was a really nice fella, but I'd really like Blues to beat Wrexham in the final. Yes.
Okay. All right. He's not going to give us any more. I'm going to take you back to that day in May 1991. Blues, is it fair to say that season, fairly middling and fairly disorganised off the field? Obviously, Dave Mackay left in January. Lou Macari came in, and there was an upturn. And it looked like, I think you got up to 7th at some point that season. It looked like you might be able to kick on. But it was what kind of season was it that season in terms of the league?
Yeah, I mean, look, as often been commented, it was fairly grim times. I mean, it was great for us to sort of play, but you would look back and the crowds of maybe 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, regularly in St Andrews, which was falling down. The fans were quite rightly disgruntled. There was no cash. Obviously, Samish had come in and put some cash in, but by no means were we the sort of big spenders in that division. And then all of a sudden, we got to the Wembley final, and that was just a bit of a carrot. I mean, I can remember when we went at Brentford, there were people, in tears. They were delighted. It had been so long since Blues had anything to hang on to, and it'd been quite a quick fall from grace. If you think we were in the Premier League in about '86, and sort of 5 years later we're in the 3rd division, scrabbling around with no cash. So it'd been a fairly swift fall from grace, really. But look, I mean, I obviously back in those days, the final was 2 weeks after the end of the season as well, wasn't it? So it was the longest 2 weeks ever. We stopped at Reading Uni. I remember we had played West Brom, had just been relegated to the 3rd division, and Bobby Gould was in charge. And as part of their punishment, they had to play us in a friendly at the Hawthorns about a week and a half after the season had finished. So as you can imagine, the likes of Darren Bradley, Darryl Burgess were delighted to be in about 12 days after the end of the season playing us in a friendly. So, yeah, I mean, it was a strange... Well, obviously, going to Reading University was something that you probably wouldn't do now, I would think. But to be fair to Lou, he took us away. We had quite a few young lads, and in an era of no phones, it was quite nice because it got us away from all people pestering for tickets and all the sort of pressures and, the Birmingham Post and Mail pressures that you get from the likes of Dicken and yourself, always hassling you for interviews. So it was good, really. But it was, it's just so far removed from how it is now. It's almost incomprehensible, really. I just can't. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's for the younger listeners, if there are any. If you can imagine football pre-Premier League era, and as Ian said, St Andrews was falling down. There was no money. Ian, can you remember what you were earning a week at that point?
Well, I can. Yeah, I mean, I was on £200 a week, I think, at that time. So
as a regular for Birmingham City.
A regular, first thing, yeah. I think I got a. Yeah, I know. I'm sure I'd had a wage rise. Dave Mackay had put me up to £200 a week as a reward for breaking into the first team. But yeah, so most of my mates who were at Land Rover were probably earning more than me at the time. Mind you, but most of them said that they were better players than me as well. So nobody's joking. No, so yeah, £200 a week was not a fat lot. So as you can imagine, we sort of there is a story to be told about the Wembley bonus system if you've got time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to come on to that. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, obviously the Leyland Daf as it was, the win bonuses back then. Yeah, the crowds were poor early on, were like £20-30 ahead. Then all of a sudden, in the bonus sheet, Samish had put in to beat Brentford £1,000 a man, which when you're on £200 a week that's some serious cash. So obviously we beat Brentford. 3-1 on aggregate, thinking great. Checked our sort of wage slips, and it was about £97 per player extra. We're like, hang on a minute, what's this? And then a meeting was called with Samish and Lou and all the squad, and he was, oh no, it's £1,000 between you. So we sort of went through the minutiae of the contract, And he agreed that actually he really should be paying us £1,000 a man, as that's what it said in the contract. So, but his sort of caveat was then he sort of went off on one and started, decrying us as a squad, saying this, which was probably fair enough. And then for the final against Tranmere, it was supposed to be £2,000 a man, just for getting there, because obviously the influence money would have been made, etc. But he said, well, I'll give you £1,000 a man, but if you lose, you don't get a penny in the final. So we agreed with that and ended up winning. So not only was it a great day, but it was also a financially rewarding day for us as well.
A lucrative afternoon, that's right. So just to run through it, Blues beat Tranmere 3-2. Seemed to be coasting when Simon Sturridge put the side ahead 1-0 in the 21st minute. John Gale made it 2-0 in the 43rd minute. Then Clarkey, what happened? 2 goals in 6 minutes, and Tranmere are back at 2-2, and you're really under the pump then, aren't you? Well,
it wouldn't be Blues, would it, if we did it, nice and easy. I mean, in all fairness, Tranmere were probably a better team than us that year. They got to the playoff final the week after. I'm not sure if they won it or not. I think they probably did. So, hard though it is to believe now, kids, Tranmere were better than Blues that season. But they were, and I think they beat us in the league earlier in the season at their place. I think we'd beaten them close to the end of the season. And obviously, you said 2-0 in the first half. It could have been more. Eric Nixon made two, or was it Eric Nixon or Eric Steele? Eric Nixon it was, sorry, yeah. Made 2 or 3 great saves. And we'd absolutely battered them. And then they changed the formation, went a little bit more direct, which was unlike them in that era. 2-2, and to be honest, we were hanging on. Got a late free kick. And then obviously John Gale scored that goal, that unbelievable overhead kick goal to make it 3-2, and we just saw ourselves over the line.
Alex, do you know who took the late free kick?
Brian, you're going to make me sound very young, because I've been listening to you two thinking, you're referring to those people who may not have, may not have been born, and I wasn't actually born when this game took place. So asking me who took the free kick is an unfair question.
It's not really.
The clue is.
It's our guest. It's our.
It is our guest. Well, it wasn't me. I'll give you a clue. It wasn't me.
I know it wasn't you, Brian. Clarkey, great free kick.
Thank you very much. Swung it over. Vince headed it in the general vicinity, and then obviously John Gale scored a goal like he'd never scored before. It was an unbelievable goal from Gailey.
And just talk us through the après-ski, Ian, if you can, with the
PG version. Yes, I mean
PG version, please.
There was a post-match do at the Wembley Hilton, which was thoroughly enjoyed by all concerned. And then subsequently, we had a 6-day trip to Marbella, believe it or not, back in the day. So all very, very nice. And then it was the start of the, and you could say it was the start of the rebirth of the Blues, because we sort of got promotion the next season again. So it was good. And I mean this in the nicest possible sense. I really hope we win it for the 3rd time. Then I really hope we never have to enter it ever again. We're never in Division 3 ever again to enter it.
Yeah, indeed. Was there a 3-line whip that all the entire squad had to go to Marbella?
No, there was only about 8 of us, I think, in the end that went. Right, so, okay. But no, it was, if it had been a 3-line whip, it probably would have been easier on my them partner at the time to sell to her. But it was okay. I managed to go anyway.
Did you get your bonus? Your win bonus?
We win bonus for the Tranmere one. Yes, that was probably blown on the second night of Marbella, I reckon. So, yeah.
And just generally, would that be the highlight of your Blues career, Ian? Obviously,
look, there were lots of really good things, every single day, really. If you're a Blues fan, playing for Birmingham City, it's fantastic, really. But that, as a standalone game on its own, it's got to be, hasn't it? Really, I think it was about 60,000 there, and it had been so far from the club had fallen so far to have a day like that was just amazing. I mean, I think for me, the actual day afterwards as well in the sort of city centre was. For me, it was unbelievable. There were thousands of Blues fans. Yeah, it was only the Leyland Daf Cup, but it was just a really, really great memory.
As you say, a sort of a reawakening of a fan base as well, wasn't it? Which is
I think so.
Very much what we're experiencing now. Alex, just a quick look ahead as to where this sits in now with the rest of the season and where Blues are going next, and just sort of how Chris Davis keeps all the balls in the air at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the sort to kind of let them take their foot off the gas, is he? So, you know, I was thinking about it earlier. Blues could essentially have won promotion by the time they play that game on April 13th. Not to get into that conversation again, but that'll be 3 weeks out from the season finishing, won't it? So there's probably quite a good chance with them being 11 ahead of Wrexham and 6 ahead of Wickham, 2 games in hand on both, and Wickham as well come to St Andrews, don't they, next week? So every chance it could be wrapped up by that point. Chris Davies, as you would expect, I think you asked him about it end of the post-match interview, didn't you? About, you know, kind of how do you manage that situation now? And very kind of professional, as you would expect, and saying that, you know, without wanting to draw on a cliche, he did say we've got 17 league games and 1 cup final, and that's 18 cup finals. And he's got the squad to do it as well. So I can't imagine there's going to be any let up. I think Blues will be promoted by the time they get to Wembley. And that's probably the best way, I think, because then, you know, you've almost got players auditioning for a Wembley spot in the 2 or 3 weeks leading up to it. So hopefully that is the case and they can really focus on Wembley rather than having, I don't want to say distraction, but maybe a little bit of a distraction of the league in the weeks leading up. And maybe there is obviously always that temptation to, probably Clark can explain it better than us, but to take your foot off the gas in those final few league games.
Yeah, I mean, I think subconsciously you might do that. I mean, I think Brian alluded to that earlier where we sort of got to 7th. And then all of a sudden, you know, we reached the Leyland Daf final, and probably, you know, subconsciously you may or may not do it. You know, I mean, nobody ever goes out there not to try. You know, obviously you're always going to try and win the games. But if Blues are already up or whatever, you know, and I don't know, it's difficult. But I think with the fact that the Vertu Motors is in season, I think that helps really, because, you know, the boys have got to keep the foot on the gas. Wickham are still going strong. So, you know, if you want to win the league, which is the ultimate aim, then, you know, they're going to have to keep on winning lots of games.
Indeed. And we all hope that Jay Stansfield is certainly part of that team at Wembley and hopefully part of several Blues teams before that date on April the 13th. Ian, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time and your insight. Alex, appreciate your time as ever. And from the 3 of us, it's a big keep right on all the way to Wembley.